Wonder if that helps. Can you still hear me? Let's see if that changes anything. Oh my god, of course I gotta watch a commercial. Testing. Yeah, it's not even coming through. I don't know what's... It's just nothing is coming through at all.
See, we should have done a test run when Tom was here.
I guess so. I'm kind of...
Because this always happens.
Okay, now you're coming out.
See, we should have done a test run when Tom was here.
I guess so. All right, no, we're good now. Now it's working. It's working now, Tom. It wasn't working before. All right, so let's start this live for the second time. Ring the Bell podcast live on Insane Games TV. Remote locations here. House Hayes, House Shevlin. We got a lot of stuff to talk about here as the world of WWE continues to change with everything that's going on with the coronavirus and everything.
Coronavirus.
Yeah, I know that the forbidden word, but we're not like WWE. We don't limit what we can say like you can there. I don't know if you noticed, but WWE doesn't mention the coronavirus in terms. Have you noticed that they call it like the unfortunate circumstance, or because of certain circumstances we can't. They don't mention corona, which is bizarre. So
Which is weird because if you think about it, they like having like stuff in their library on the WWE network. So you think that they would like during these crazy times they would just like mention it so they can have it in their library. You know, WWE during this pandemic or something like that.
It's something that I noticed, and then I actually saw an article on it a couple days ago that WWE forbids to mention the words corona or coronavirus or anything with the COVID-19 anything, which I think is just admit it, just acknowledge that it's going on, and that's it. You don't have to
Is there a
like.
reason why they don't want to say it?
Are you surprised? It's this classic WWE where there's stupid rules. Like it's just like, really, are we gonna dodge around the fact that it's going on? It's just
I
classic
mean, yeah,
WWE.
it's kind of like dodging the obvious. Like I don't know, did you watch AEW this week?
A little bit, yeah.
So it was really bothering me the whole entire time, and it's literally only one person that does it, and it's Cody Rhodes. And the whole entire time when they were mentioning Brody Lee, who obviously was Luke Harper in the past, every time they mentioned him because it was his debut, Cody Rhodes would be like, "Oh, I knew this guy as a different name back in the day, but now he's Brody Lee." He said it like 8 times on the show. I'm like, bro, we know he was Luke Harper. Just say his name is Brody Lee. We don't need to have a synopsis of him being a different person in the past. I mean, you were obviously a different person too. You're gonna say every time, "Oh, I was a different person back in the day as Stardust, but now I'm Cody Rhodes." Like, we get it.
Yeah, we're gonna have it where.
And that was my little rant on AEW because that shit kept bothering me every time he brought it up.
Well, it's, what do you expect? Everyone has certain things that we just can't. I mean, I guess that's maybe your rant for the day. My rant is they don't mention the coronavirus. Just admit that it's going on, and we all understand that But they sound so stupid when they talk and they say, "Well, with the unfortunate circumstances going on right now," and like we all know,
I
don't
mean,
dodge.
now that I think about it, I think even AEW doesn't even mention it.
They probably that I haven't noticed. I just know WWE doesn't mention it at all in the slightest. But let's jump into some. That's Tyler's and I's hot take for the episode. What's what's coming? Let's jump right into it. The big topic, WrestleMania. We got a lot of what are they gonna do for WrestleMania? I'm starting to come to the conclusion that maybe they will move off of doing WrestleMania April 5th. Don't know. Apparently they're going to, but I still kind of have a thought that maybe they could end up postponing it, which I think they should, but they don't want to. And at this point, it's ruined. I mean, is it ruined for you? It's ruined for me.
Oh, I mean, like I said, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, on a previous episode, before all of this coronavirus thing happened in the United States, I was completely turned off by the whole entire card for WrestleMania, and now it's just like, is there even a point? Now you have wrestlers dropping out. Now you have them saying that they're gonna make certain matches, certain things. Like they're trying to make it interesting by making these matches specialty matches. I guess the one with Undertaker is gonna be a buried alive match. So I mean, I don't know. It's ruined for me. I would say it's not going to be anything that I'm like intrigued about or super excited about like I have been with past WrestleManias. I just don't know how they're going to fill the show. So it is what it is. I think they should just take the L and move on and maybe do it at a later date.
Well, so right now you have WrestleMania being broken up into 2 days. You have it, I think, like 8 matches on Saturday, and you have 8 matches on Sunday. Which ones
Now,
are on what days? I
Are they
don't know.
mixing Raw, SmackDown, and NXT?
Right? Yes. I don't know.
Oh, okay. 'Cause I know they said that they're not doing NXT Takeover anymore,
No,
obviously. So,
there's no NXT on the card right now that I can
oh,
see. So no NXT,
so
just
what?
SmackDown
So,
and
do you
Raw.
know when they plan on implementing those matches then? Because there were more matches I would say that I was excited for in NXT than I was on the main card.
I mean, they just canceled the whole entire NXT Tampa, so I don't know what. I, I get maybe postponing it. Maybe they plan on. There's really been no. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to do the takeover at the Performance Center like you're doing WrestleMania. I guess to me that makes, if you're gonna do WrestleMania at the Performance Center, why not just do NXT Takeover?
I mean,
That
I
I
know
don't
that
know.
they announced on NXT this past episode that Gargano and Ciampa are going to be in a remote location with a referee in a ring, but when is that? And Gargano said 2 weeks from now. So 2 weeks from the last episode, are they going to do it on 2 weeks from Wednesday, which would be April 8th, or are they going to do 2 weeks April 5th or April 4th, or because technically that would be around that 2 week mark for WrestleMania. Or
Hmm.
do they just plan on doing all of the matches spread out over time because they don't? I feel like everything's in limbo right now, so they're just trying to take this thing day by day at this point.
They very well could. I don't think they know. I don't think they really know what they're doing. I mean, you gotta. I mean, and here's where, while I consider myself a deep WWE fan, there comes a point where their greediness is being shown. I mean, look at NBA
Right.
canceled, MLB, well, I should postpone, MLB postponed, golf, NASCAR, indie racing, UFC,
XFL.
XFL, the list, the Olympics, everything, just the list keeps going and going. So why are we at WWE trying to keep the thing going? Like, just postpone. You're not the only sports promotion going through it. You're not the only. I mean, you're out to make money, just like NBA's out to make money, MLB's out to make money. I mean, you're not in. Sometimes I feel like WWE feels like they're the only one that this is happening to, and they gotta find a way of keep going. Just stop. Like everybody else is doing. I mean, one can argue, are you really caring about the wrestlers right now, having them go out and wrestle? I mean, maybe they
I
tested
mean,
them all and
most of the wrestlers are in quarantine right now, so they can't even be
right.
at the performance center.
So what are we trying to do? Like, why are we still trying to do Raw? Why are we still trying to do SmackDown? Hey, here's an idea. Let's go into the years of library content that WWE finds so valuable and start playing some old Raws. In fact, maybe I don't know about you, I would rather watch the old Raws than the current one. I would watch it. Even though I can just go back myself and pop it up and the WWE network and do it, I probably
Not
would
everybody
watch them.
can.
Yeah, exactly. Not everyone can. I
And I
would
mean,
go
honestly,
back.
if you think about it, that's a brilliant idea because if they pull up,
Ding.
if they, I mean, this is why I don't compliment you because you're an asshole about it. But I think it's a good idea because if you think about it, they pull up all these old Raws, they do random ones, random SmackDown, random Raw, random NXT. You do that, and what that does is it promotes the WWE network, where people are going to be like, this is actually interesting. I like watching all the stuff, all the shows that they have on there, all the WWE originals on some of the superstars, and maybe that helps spark business on the back end with the WWE network because they're not getting it through, actually doing events with
Right.
fans going. So I mean, I think that's a good idea. I would be interested in watching some of the Raws. Maybe even do like anniversaries. Like if it's say Raw's gonna end up on next Monday, March 30th. Maybe they have play a Raw from March 30th from 15 years ago or something like that on
Hmm.
this day back in the day.
You know what they should do? I know because my idea was so good, I'm gonna make it even better. What they
There you
should
go.
do is when Raw is 3 hours, take 3 of those Raws in the past, cut them down to each hour, and just play the highlights. And so, like for one episode of Raw, you can watch 3 Raws back in 2000 or 2001. Play some of the Attitude. But
I
again,
mean, I'm sure
this
that they could do it any way possible to make it more entertaining than the shows that they're putting out now, where
right.
they're doing, oh, well, watch John Cena and Bray Wyatt for an hour from WrestleMania 30. Thanks. They're not even the same freaking person right now.
Right. But see, here's the classic WWE management style, where it's up in the boardroom. Well, we don't want to play those old Raws. It's going to get people back into the Attitude Era, and that's not what we want people to be. Come on, give it up. Be like all these other organizations. Close down or stop production. You have a library. I mean, you have like a museum of
I'm pretty sure
previous
they have like
content.
a trillion, like a petabyte of data in the WWE
Right.
library.
So this argument of we don't have enough content, you have ECW content, you have WCW content, you have the 25 years of Raw content and SmackDown. We can find some stuff to put on air to get people or to continue watching or to I mean again, I would probably watch the older Raws and the newer ones.
I would
That's
much
my
rather
opinion.
watch older content that was memorable than what they're putting out now because it just seems like they're trying way too hard to create something, and most of the time because there's no crowd, because there's no audience, it doesn't go over as well as it would as if they had one.
It's not
So I mean, they're
enjoyable.
really it's not enjoyable for, I feel like, any party. The wrestlers are trying their hardest to make it somewhat entertaining, but it's almost impossible without a crowd because these people have been trained to feed off the crowd, to have promos in front of a crowd, to have promos in front of other wrestlers. But I mean, the energy's not there, and they need to create it, and they can't because there's nobody there, and it makes the show unenjoyable because of that.
Right. I just think they can. I think they need to cut their losses, play some old content that you have, and because this new content that you're basically wasting because it's not even enjoyable. And you know what? Give it a break. Maybe people want a break. Take WWE off the air for 2 months. No shows, no live events. Let the wrestler take a break. Get some of them are healed and then come back with all new, fresh. Take. I always say, and I've been saying, take the coronavirus and make something good out of it. And and,
Right.
and,
That's
and
exactly what I was just about to say.
take a break because it's basically mandatory everywhere you go that you're not supposed to be out. Take a break. You have a library of content that you can play on in exchange for the live shows. Reschedule WrestleMania down the road. And you know what? All these different type of things that you're putting in place, maybe helps WWE a little bit, because right now their stock's down, people aren't watching, the shows aren't entertaining, it's complete chaos. Just stop, ease, come up with some good plans, let
Yeah,
everyone
I mean,
take a
maybe
break,
they,
and
they
go.
what they need is a nice hard reset, and they can use
Yep.
this time as, excuse for it. Everybody's going through it, everybody's taking the hit, so why not WWE? I mean, they're so, and like you said, they're so greedy that they think that they're still gonna make money when in reality they're losing money. They need
Right.
to figure out what the next best step is, and I think the next best step is taking everybody out of it, letting them go through quarantine, letting them, like you said, heal, letting them, create their own content maybe through social media or whatever the case may be to stay relevant, and just, to cut your losses, because at this point they're trying way too hard and they're making the situation worse, because
Yeah.
you're taking wrestlers off the card and in WrestleMania, and it's not allowing for it to organically happen. It's just forced, and you can see it from the audience perspective, and it's not the WWE that people want to associate with, because it's not clearly a good show right now.
Yeah, the more I talk about it, the more and more I feel like it's a better idea, and they just gotta stop what they're doing right now because it isn't working, and follow what everyone else is, and and I think this. I think what they're trying to do right now could actually hurt WWE than help. I think people are gonna get bored. They're not gonna enjoy it, and think about this. Think about taking 2 months off, and then WWE all of a sudden advertising their return. You wouldn't like. You don't know what storylines are going. Refresh all the storylines. Refresh everything, and kind of get everything on a break. And then all of a sudden on that first Raw back, it's like, ooh, what's gonna happen? Who's gonna come out first? Who's gonna do? It kind
Right.
of gives you, like you said, that reset button. I think that's something they should definitely look at. But the problem is they're wasting their time doing it. So now at this point, it's almost like you had your chance to do that, and you know I don't know who has the brains over there in the headquarters that can't come up with decent ideas like that. But let's talk about WrestleMania. Let's talk about what's on the card right now. And so from what I can see right now, we have 13 matches on the card. We have Edge, Randy Orton. We have Elias, King Corbin. We have Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley. The Street Profits versus Andre and Garza. We have John
Andrade.
Morrison. Andrade. We have John Morrison, the Miz versus TBD. We have Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Undertaker, AJ Styles. We have Bailey versus Lacey Evans versus Naomi versus Sasha Banks versus Tamia. So we got a lot of Tamia. So we have a lot of different people going on there. John Cena, Bray Wyatt, Becky Lynch, Blazer. We have Goldberg, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. Is it that good of a card? Do you think it
I mean,
passes the
like
WrestleMania
I
hype?
said, I don't think that there's any match on there besides maybe Edge and Randy Orton that gets me excited. I think they dropped the ball. If this were an actual WrestleMania like it has been in the past, I would be this is a classic time where WWE is out of touch with the fans. Why are we having Goldberg versus Roman Reigns? Why are we having Bray Wyatt versus John Cena? Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt are the two top people in WWE right now. They should be going one on one. This is just an example. And I was saying this a few weeks ago. Never in the past at WrestleMania did they have Hulk Hogan go up against Bruno Sammartino out of his prime, or never in the past did they have The Rock go against I don't know, someone back in the 80s or the 70s. Why are we doing this right now? It makes no sense. You have two of the top guys in the company going up against washed up wrestlers who are irrelevant. They're not even full-time wrestlers, and we're putting it as, oh, these guys know how to fill up box seats. Well, you would be able to fill up box seats if you were to build up your own wrestlers. But
Right.
instead, you have to revert back to the past, and you have to bring back people that can't put on the match that everybody remembers them for, and it just ruins the hype around it, I think. For me, it's a turn off for me because I think that they have the talent there, and that is why you're seeing that talent leave the company at times. I mean, shit, John Moxley over in AEW is, living his best life because he's a champion. Where if he was in WWE right now, he might not even make the WrestleMania pre-show. Like they just don't know how to work it, and I feel like it's just hindering their company. But because of WWE fans being so, I guess I could say, mindless and not really caring that they're bringing back wrestlers that are 50 and 60 years old, well, that's on them because they still buy the tickets. They still tune in because, oh, it's Goldberg. But this isn't the Goldberg from the 90s. This is the guy that can barely hop out of his 1960 Chevrolet on his one show and has more gray hair than Vince McMahon himself. So it's just ridiculous to me. And that's why I'm not hyped about this WrestleMania.
No, I agree. I think there's a lot of, you're looking at the card, Undertaker, AJ Styles, John
Undertaker can
Cena.
barely get into the ring.
Right. And we're expecting him to beat AJ Styles. I mean, AJ Styles
Oh,
is one of
it's
the
a
best
foregone
wrestlers.
conclusion that he's going to beat AJ Styles.
Right. You have Goldberg,
And
Roman
that's what's wrong
Reigns.
with it.
I mean, I
AJ
can get away.
Styles
Go
AJ
ahead.
Styles should be one of those guys that puts on the match that's not the main event, maybe before it, and he really like wows the crowd. He should be up against Drew McIntyre, or he should be putting someone over because he's probably on the back nine of his career, but he still can actually wrestle. He can actually jump off the top turnbuckle. I don't think Undertaker can jump off the top turnbuckle. I mean, it's just like the dude is old. He's beat up. I mean, he's had a good run. Let him die.
Right. No, I agree, and I also think that I mean, like you said, AJ Styles is one of the best guys out there. Here, I mean, to walk in there and say, "Oh, this guy's gonna lose to a guy who barely can throw a punch." I mean, and they're doing this boneyard match. Like, what the hell is that? What's a boneyard match?
I think it's a buried alive match. I don't know. And this is one of those things where they needed the crowd to kind of hype it up. But like when AJ Styles said, "Oh, we're gonna have a boneyard match," like the whole entire arena was quiet. Nobody knew at home what the hell a boneyard match was because it's never happened in the history of the WWE. It's just the whole entire thing is flopping under WWE, and it's nobody's fault but Vince McMahon's. I mean, you look at it and it's just terrible content. They're trying too hard to make something relevant that should not be, and it's just tough to watch. I mean, from as a WWE fan, someone who's invested as much time as I have or you have, or anybody has that likes WWE, it's like a slap in the face. It's like, here's shit, have fun eating it and enjoy. Here's another and here's a fucking dessert entree of 1 hour of WrestleMania 30 with Bray Wyatt and John Cena. Like, no, thank you, I'm good.
Well, let's try to put a positive spin on it for a minute.
There's no
And
positive.
well, what there
There's
is.
literally no positive.
Here's the positive spin is that this is something they never had to do before, wrestle in front of an empty arena. Why not make
I,
it somewhat entertaining? Obviously the word going around now is the John Cena Bray Wyatt is going to be more like a movie match than an actual match. Why not get creative like that with all the matches? Like, let's do something we've never done. Let's
I
go
mean, I
and
think that's what
have
they're
the.
trying to do.
Well, are they? You and I both know they're going to
Well,
drop the ball on it.
the boneyard match, the last man standing match with Randy Orton, like every match in this card is like a specialty match.
We both know they're going to drop the ball on it. They have an opportunity to do something they've never done before, and they'll screw that up too, just like they do everything. It's just, at the end of the day, I believe that this whole thing should be just postponed. But, newsflash, what are they going to do here? Out today, Roman Reigns will not be wrestling at WrestleMania 36. He has decided that due to his past with leukemia, very fair argument, very fair point that he should not be putting himself in that situation of contracting the virus, which I don't think is a dumb move. So, what do you do now? Now you have Goldberg with no opponent. Who are we gonna throw into the mix now? I mean, so now this match is so Goldberg is definitely gonna win. So now Goldberg can be around for even longer. So it's just like, how are they gonna fix this problem now? So what would your be solution? What would your solution be right now if Roman Reigns just told you he's not wrestling? What are you doing with Goldberg now?
I mean, honestly, I don't know because this is exactly what should have happened was they should have known that Roman Reigns has prior history with health problems. They should know that he's one of the more susceptible people of society to catch something, especially with everything going on. And they should have had a plan for this, aka have someone, kind of step in and like beat up Roman Reigns and take him out like they used to do in the past, where like they knew someone wasn't going to be able to perform, so they injured them. They like ran them over with an ambulance or a truck, or like beat him up backstage or something like that, and had someone take his place. But with everything going on, I mean, it's just everything's in limbo. So Goldberg probably not going to have an opponent for WrestleMania. If he does, it's probably going to be someone that's lame because they dropped the ball on it. That's just
What do
it.
you think about? I noticed someone who's not on the card right now, but maybe a little Jeff Hardy.
I mean, as a Jeff Hardy connoisseur, someone who loves him more than any wrestler out there, I think it would be great, obviously. But I mean, as we both know, Jeff Hardy is great at getting his ass whooped. So I think that's exactly what they're gonna do. Throw him in the ring and be like, "Hey Jeff, put on a good show of getting your ass handed to you by Goldberg to make him still relevant for no apparent fucking reason."
It could be a nice little boost giving Jeff Hardy the title for a while.
Yeah, but I feel like he hasn't earned it. Like they're just
No, he
handing the
hasn't.
title around.
But I mean, they don't have any other options. They don't have any other options. They got to do something. I mean, I don't know
Honestly,
what.
this reason right here should be the exact reason why they should cancel it. They say, you know what, our main star, the guy that we're behind 100%, the guy that is the face of our company, can't perform. Maybe it's time for us to just hang up the old boots and just let it ride out and postpone and not go on with the show because that's like the NBA going on without LeBron. LeBron says, "Hey, listen, I'm not going to perform because of this. I'm going to get all my guys to do the same thing, and it's just not right." And the NBA would be like, "You know what? You're right. We'll postpone the season." But WWE is not going to do that. And this is
No.
their main guy. Like they should take notes. Like your main guy's not here, your show is not going to be great.
Um. Hang on, I'm doing some. I'm looking up some live updates here. So now they're reporting that the Miz was also sick for a period of time, and also one of the Usos. So I don't know. Could that impact it now? I mean, I don't know. This seems to be a developing story right now. Roman Reigns being pulled. This was just announced yesterday. Roman Reigns has been pulled from WrestleMania. He's uncomfortable doing anything more at the Performance Center, which I don't blame them. So I don't know what they're gonna do. They got to figure something out. So right now there's no opponent for Goldberg. And also one other wrestler that's been thrown out of the equation is Rey Mysterio. I don't know if he's had any. I don't know if he even had a match planned for WrestleMania, but he has been labeled to. He's been sent to quarantine, so he is out of the picture for a while, so it won't be taking place at WrestleMania. But we look at the overall picture and we look at what WWE is trying to do here, as we explained this whole tailspin they seem to be going in, which quite frankly is only their own fault at this point. It's only their own fault that Roman Reigns is backing out because they're trying to keep the show going. But you have Vince McMahon selling 15% of his stock. You have WWE stock down 50%. You just have a lot of different things going on, and they gotta get something figured out because they're in a pretty big tailspin going downward. Their stock at one point was $96. Now it's down to like 36, so it's over 50%. And you have Vince pulling out 15% of his stock for a cash. Basically, the terminology is a cash advance loan. So he's got to sell his stocks by I think May 2024, but he basically getting the value of those stocks now instead of in 2024. So basically, it came out to about 80 million. So he's taking 80 million out, and I'm not quite sure if it's for his own personal use, if he's injecting it into the WWE, or if he's injecting it into XFL, which recently had to suspend their season too. So Vince has a lot of things going on right now between XFL and WWE, and I think the best situation for him, again, as we have discussed, would be just stop,
Well, maybe that's exactly what he's doing. Is
stop.
he knows that he wants to postpone it, and this is his last resort. He has to take out this money to float the company for a time period for them to survive. I mean, this isn't just affecting, like you said, the WWE. It's affecting sports all around. So I think it would be the smartest decision to have them postpone WWE. Think about this. Think about how AEW feels. This is their first, like they're not even in a full
Right,
year of being a company, and they're probably trying to hang on for everything that they have, and they're still producing really good content though. I think AEW this is helping them even more because WWE's producing shit, and AEW is coming out here and they have good shows, and they're making the best of it regarding the situation. And you want to know why? It's because they let their wrestlers have creativity in their career. They let guys like Matt Hardy come in on his debut show and his second show and do these crazy things that only he would do, and it just makes the show fun. I mean, they're
right.
not all just like in the ring or anything like that, but just take the L. Like I said, take the L. Reboot, reclaim, reconquer the world. But right now it ain't it, Chief.
No, I agree. They gotta figure. I just, I don't know. It just isn't. And and the one thing you look at the difference between the two is that AEW doesn't have a library. They don't have a library of content to go back on. WWE has so much stuff at their disposal to take advantage of, and yet they don't do it. I mean, if I'm AEW now, let's be honest, the Khan family does have a lot of money, so I think they're relatively safe. But let's take a look at a minute for AEW in the sense of they don't have previous content to put on unless they go back to their first ever AEW episode or some of the ones from October to now. They don't have years and years and years and years and years of content that WWE has. So when I look at it, it's just a dumb move that WWE is not doing that and just taking a hard second to, like, I like the word you said earlier, to reset WWE and then go from there. I think it's just it's just a very easy solution. Okay, moving on from WrestleMania and the kind of the business talk of WWE. We talked a little bit about the empty fans. How much more can you watch of this? Can we watch any more of watching these shows in front of empty fans? I can't do it. It's just not entertaining at all.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I think it makes it tough for someone who's sitting at home to not hear any reaction or, hearing everything that's going on in the ring. Yeah, it's definitely tough, but I mean, these are unfamiliar circumstances, so unfamiliar things happen to the fans at home. It's definitely hard to watch, and like I said earlier, some of the things don't come over as they should during promos or during matches without the fans, the oohs and the ahs, or the whats and the boos and the cheers. I mean, it's definitely tough to watch. Some of those segments they're trying to make the most of, and then some of them blunder because they don't have fans.
Well, first off, we talk about it's hard for us. It's hard for the wrestlers. I mean, think about they still come out. And I don't know if you know, I love watching when they come walking out, and you can tell they always usually look to the right or the left at all the people. There's no one. Well, why are they still looking to the left and the right? You're looking at nobody. They got, like, when they're walking down the stage, like, they always look around like they're looking at the arena and the group of people, and there's nobody. So
Well,
the
now they're
you
now they're looking around seeing nobody. That's
right,
probably
but
why.
and the problem is they're so trained to do that and now you're training them basically to not do that. And I think that's what makes it even more hard too. Is these guys are coming out and there's nothing to get the excitement going, and I just can't watch much more of empty arenas. It's just there's nothing entertaining about it. The live reaction, and to go back to it, it kind of even brings me up to I miss the old days where the fans actually, and maybe this will change that. Maybe this will be we actually appreciate being at the live shows. Let's start getting a pepped up audience, and it's almost like I go back to saying let's take a minute and see if this was for a purpose. And our crowds are so boring, the crowds are so unenergetic that let's get rid of them for a while. And now people can maybe start to appreciate going to a live show, and they can start appreciating cheering and being vocal, and we can get back to actually having some decent, because the Raw in 2000s to the Raws now, there's no excitement. Hulk Hogan returns and everyone's just
Let's
like,
be honest though,
oh,
but
okay.
everything besides the wrestling world, everything including the wrestling world is going to change after this. You
Right.
know, everybody's starting to realize how much they underappreciated everything that they had the rights to do. Like going to a restaurant or going to the movies. Now going to sporting events is going to be like I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be the greatest thing for anybody because we're living in a world without sports, and for you and I or anybody that's a sports fanatic is like chomping at the bit for just something. We're watching ESPN the Ocho, with freaking ping pong and squirrels riding water skis and getting excited about it. But I think we're gonna get back to it where you go into a sporting event, it's gonna be like one of the greatest things, like in a
Right.
candy store.
Yeah, I think maybe this could be a wake up call in trying to allow some people to understand and appreciate going to the live events, and it's kind of like one of those, it's been going down 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 with people being energetic at these, and all of a sudden you just can't do it, and now maybe that'll give it the boost it needs to move up and kind of get people excited. But these live shows with no fans is just not entertaining, which goes back to our original point of just not doing them. But WWE, and I'm just seeing this now. Chef Stephanie McMahon did put out. She was in the interview, and they said that the reason why they're doing all these risks and taking these risks because of the coronavirus is because of us, the fans. Oh, really? That's why you're doing it. You're doing it because, well, you don't think the NBA wanted to do it for the fans? They stopped. MLB, soccer, indie racing, NASCAR, the Olympics. You don't think the Olympics? The Olympics aren't until July, August, and they even postponed. Golf. You don't think all these people are doing it for the fans? But yet WWE, we the fans are going to be happy with our life having WWE when we don't have any of the other ones. Come on, Stephanie, give me a break. I mean, holy shit. Just postpone. The more I read and the more I hear, the more it just becomes more and more stupid. That should have been my rant of the day, not the other one. This should have been my rant. The fact that they're still running WWE shows. And we both know if WWE stops, AEW stops. AEW isn't going to try to do it, be the only, but maybe they do. Maybe they do. I don't know. Do you like do you feel satisfied with Stephanie's response of we're doing this and taking the risks because of the fans? Really?
I mean, as a fan, I appreciate it. It's just, as a fan that has, at least a half a brain, I just think that, you're wasting your time and your talent, and they just need to postpone it. Simple as that.
No, I agree. Okay, we're gonna get some AEW talk and we're gonna get some Tyler analysis. I want you to break down for me. I want you to break down the Matt Hardy return. Were you excited? Are you disappointed where it's going? What do you like about it? You break it down
Well,
to me.
can I say "told you so"? Because I knew he was gonna go to AEW.
I
Or,
guess. I still
I
think
mean,
it wasn't the
did
right
I?
move.
I'm sorry. I know he's on Wednesday nights, but is he on NXT or is it AEW?
Hang on 1 second. We got a message from Mark 2164. You guys should look back at old school and check out Chef J Strong Bow and Bob Backlund. That was good stuff. I do know Bob Backlund. He's come out recently a couple years ago, but he's definitely far retired. I don't know the other one. Have you ever heard of the other one? Chef
Strongbow?
Jay Strongbow. Do you know him?
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard of him.
All right, jump in.
I'm not
Okay,
really
keep
big
going.
into the other stuff, but back to what I was saying, but I know he's on Wednesday nights. He's on AEW, right? Not NXT? Okay, good.
Who?
I just want to make
Oh yeah,
sure
yeah.
that Matt Hardy, made it to the right show that I called. No, I thought the debut was great. I thought it was as Matt Hardy says, wonderful. Um, it makes a lot of sense that he's joining the elite because, as he says, he owes many favors to the Young Bucks or the Bucks of Young. I think it's going to be interesting because they have all this talent on both sides. I think Matt Hardy and Chris Jericho, especially on the last episode, match up really well with each other. They know how to speak in promos. They know how to conversate with one another, make it interesting. I would say the second show with Matt Hardy was more interesting because it allowed him to be creative, moving from stadium seat to tier in the stadium, to make it look like he had magic and really show off his broken character. I'm very entertained with Matt Hardy and Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho yelling at Vanguard One, especially after not wanting to join the Inner Circle. I think that was, and honestly, that was probably my moment of the week. Was the ending of AEW with Chris Jericho and Matt Hardy going back and forth, and then the Inner Circle attacking Matt Hardy, and then the Elite coming to his aid. So I think it's keeping it entertaining, and this is exactly what I've been saying. Is I think that with given the circumstances, AEW is doing a way better job at keeping the content fresh and entertaining for fans that aren't there than WWE. And they bring in Brody Lee, aka Luke Harper. They bring in Matt Hardy. I think it only bolsters their roster even a little bit more to have guys that are well known, that have been around for a while, or have that are basically waiting for a chance to prove themselves because they weren't allowed to in their previous employment.
So let me get this straight. Matt Hardy returns. Big debut. Big debut on AEW. The Matt Hardy. First off, he's probably a C wrestler in WWE. Am I wrong? Never been an A. Definitely not a B.
I would
I
say
would
a
put him
B.
as a C. A C
I'd
wrestler
say B.
category. But
B.
big, 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 big,
B.
big debut
B.
on AEW. Shows up, and what do? He joins the Elite? Really? Because the Elite needs so much more star power that this is the road they're going down. Why not come with a whole new character? Why not join the what is it called?
Technically, it
The
is a new
Dark Order?
character.
The Dark, whatever it's
Technically, it
called?
is a new character.
Okay, whatever. Okay, he
Was
could have
Matt
brought.
Hardy was Matt Hardy broken Matt Hardy in WWE when he
He
left?
was
No,
woken,
he
Matt
was
Hardy.
no, he wasn't
Oh,
even
well,
that.
yeah.
He was pretending to be the Matt Hardy from the '90s with his same getup. I
Okay,
mean,
I
shit,
didn't like that either.
they suffocated Matt Hardy the whole entire time he was in WWE. They
Look, I'm
promised him
not
the
saying they
world
didn't.
and gave him a piece of shit and said, "Here, make the most of this."
I'm not saying he was treated fairly at WWE, but what I'm saying is
Bad
WWE came
booking.
in,
Even Chris Jericho said it.
AEW comes in, and they go, "Oh well, we got this big debut for Matt Hardy, and we're gonna put him in with the Elite." Because that is so cool. That is what people want to see. They want to see
It
more
is.
star power on the already star
They do.
powerful Elite. Wow. Oh, and by the
They
way,
do.
we're going to put Matt Hardy versus Chris Jericho. So now we technically have a WWE match on AEW. Come on. You could have put anyone else. Why don't you put Matt Hardy up against some new AEW people to get them
They
some more
probably will.
publicity?
They
Really?
will.
We're going to put them with Chris
That's
Jericho.
the best thing about him joining AEW is he's gonna face guys that he could never face at WWE. Guys
So
that he's been wanting to face.
so where does AEW win in the Matt Hardy versus Chris Jericho match? Where
Where
do they
don't they
win?
win? Where don't they
Where?
win?
Well, if Chris
Where don't
Jericho
they win?
lose, he falls down. If well, we know Matt Hardy's not going to lose because he's just making his debut. So what is it that? So what is it that we're doing?
They're bringing in Matt Hardy.
Right.
They're adding him to the Elite, who already have Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, and the Young Bucks, 4 people, making it 5, so the odds are even against the Inner Circle with Chris Jericho, Hager, Ortiz, Cruz, or Ortiz and Santana and Sammy Guevara. So now it's even. They're adding a bolstered 5-star match more likely than not because you have all this star power going up against each other. That doesn't mean that he's gonna be in the Elite and fight with them every single time. They don't do that. They fight individually. I also forgot Cody Rhodes. He's also in there. But I think well, exactly. They have so much star power on both sides. You don't even need to mention him. The thing is that what they're gonna do is boost him while bringing him in, while also adding star power to a already bolstered star power match, and they're gonna make it great. And I think they can branch off with that. They could have Matt Hardy go up against anybody from the Inner Circle. Hell, they can even have Matt Hardy go up against anybody from the Elite. Have someone hit him from the back, like Hangman Page or something like that. I mean, there's just so many. There's a plethora of opportunities that could happen for Matt Hardy and AEW, and this is exactly what I was saying weeks ago, where you disagreed with me. There's so many more options for him to go on and be successful in AEW than there is in NXT or WWE.
Nope, wrong.
Because on Raw and really, I'm wrong. Raw and SmackDown,
Yeah.
they have nothing for him. He could put on a 10 times better promo than anybody on that whole entire brand as a whole.
Hold up. First off, I never
Don't
said.
ever do that again.
Hold up. Don't. First off, I never said that Matt Hardy couldn't go to AEW. That wasn't the argument. The argument was, let me correct you, was that I thought it was a better road for Matt Hardy to go to NXT, not to not go.
For what reason?
Because they can do far much more. Once again,
here
it is.
No, here it is. What could they do with Matt Hardy that would be so much more?
We're throwing Matt Hardy into a group battle, a stable battle on AEW that already have enough players. I mean, let's be honest with you. Is Matt Hardy better than Hangman Page? No. Is he better than the Bucks? No. Is he better than Cody Rhodes? No. Is he better than Chris Jericho? No. Moxley? No. Even Jack Hager? No. Sammy Guevara? No.
Moxley isn't even in it.
But whatever. He's not better than any of them. So why is it that
I would say he's better than Cruz and Santana and Ortiz, though.
Okay.
And I'd say he's better than Sammy Guevara. I mean, honestly,
I like Sammy Guevara. I think he's
you
a
don't
good guy.
you don't understand what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is he's gonna get buried.
Even if he does, that doesn't matter. He's putting on more of a show with the character that he has, with the content he can create, with the creativity he has in his brain, than what he would do in WWE. They don't have anything for him. Therefore, what do wrestlers do? They go somewhere else where they're appreciated, just like everybody in AEW is appreciated. Look at Pac. He's one of the top 5 wrestlers over in AEW right now. Brody Lee, I can guarantee they're gonna put on. He's already got like 15 minutes of airtime on AEW when he didn't even get 15 minutes in one whole year on WWE. I mean, they have so much more opportunity for these wrestlers. Hence why I knew it was going to happen and I knew he was going to be in AEW. AEW is going to appreciate Matt Hardy way more than WWE would or will from this point on. Matt Hardy obviously isn't the guy that he was 15 years ago. We get that. But in this given point in his career, he can put on a better show at a show like AEW rather than NXT, Raw, or SmackDown. And that's exactly my point. You weren't understanding that because you're too thick-skulled to understand anything. If it's not about The Miz or The Rock, it's like dur, 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 dur.
Oh my god. All right. We're gonna end it there. We're gonna let Tyler get the last word. Let it fluff his ego a little bit. Let him walk out on a high note to next week.
It's because you know I'm right. That's why.
When I stomp him back down again.
It's I'm right. That's why.
Anything quick you want to add before we end? Because you're up next again with AC Wheezy for No Look.
Yeah, just stay on the stream. Watch us on No Look Podcast this week. Got a lot to talk about. Dan, you know I'm right. Just admit it for the people, please. One time. Thank
Nope.
you.
No, I think you're completely wrong, but I'll let you get the last word. All right, so we got the
Yeah.
No Look
All right,
podcast
drop
coming
that.
up next. Normally these shows are Wednesday night. We're only on here for Friday night for one special time, but we'll be back here next Wednesday for Ring the Bell. No Look's up next, and then hope you guys stay safe. Keep track of the channel. We're getting a lot more followers every week. They keep going up. Up, 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 up. They're going up. But okay, No Look
Shut
coming
up,
up
Dan.
next.
Drop that.
Adios.